Woza. Siaya. I want to say Siaya. I'll take this draw. I'll take this draw and run. I'll take 6 points between Bafana Bafana and anybody who's coming closer to them. With 2 matches to go, I'll take this gentleman and say a victory in the next game. Who have you got? Zimbabwe at home. Zimbabwe at home. And then after that, Rwanda at home. We probably just need one victory there. I think even 2 draws there. But I'm saying, at worst, Mafana will get a victory in one of those games. That's how I feel right now. So I want to get my passport. I want to let you guys know, SoccerBeat family, get your passports ready. We have to go and line up at Home Affairs. Matota, see, America, Canada, Mexico. It feels good. It feels good to be sitting like this, cheesy, and bring out your calculator for all the right reasons. Usually we are tense and saying, how many points do we need that guy to play for us, to do us a favor there and there and there? Here, the calculator is for us to do ourselves a favor. How many points do we need in 2 games? What a good feeling. Subscribers, join. Tell everybody else who hasn't subscribed if you are joining us for the first time. Maybe you are Nigerian. We've seen the Nigerian community joining us. They leaving us comments. Welcome, Oga. Welcome. Hit the subscribe button. Join the family. It's going to be a long road. We want to hear how you feel about this situation. We feel good. Cheezy, do you have your passport ready, Baba? The chef was cooking. Obas was killer. Tebuho Mokoena. I'm sure when I Tsepo, you're sitting there, you're saying our fullbacks, you know, you're worried maybe because no experience, but they passed with flying colors. The center back pairing, Mbokazi, the TLP. What more can we say? Cheez, I think let's start with Mbokazi. What more can be said about this young man?
Mamela, he never put any foot wrong, Joe. I mean, the boy is maturing each and every game. I think this time around he just showed everybody that what, I'm ready to cement my place in this Bafana team. And he done an excellent job. And he could have credited a goal, a beauty of a goal coming from a centre back. I wish he had just dipped a little bit in Fana, but that's how smart this boy is, and that's how it shows that he is maturing with time as well. And I'm seeing his aggression as well. He's been excellent, Mchar. I think he never put anything wrong. I think for the team, yeah, he put his body on the line in certain occasions. But all around in Mchar, I think a great effort from the team. They never allowed Nigeria to bully us in any manner. Whether they tried to be physical, we were physical as well. And yeah, the rest is history. Mchar, I'm a passport already. I'll tell me. I'm expire 2050 somewhere, so I'm ready, mina.
Tsepo, I'm gonna give you. Tsepo, I want to give you the defense, but hold on. The chef, Cheez, the chef, master chef. What can be
Mamela,
said about Mbule? Cheesy.
lo muntu mfethu, we've been saying this as a nation ukuthi we need our chef, and he has brought himself back to life, and we knew he was going to get his chance at Bafana in that number 10, number 8 position, Joe. And he just made it look so easy, and also because he knows how to protect the ball, and he gets into the right spaces. He's never behind the two midfielders. He's always getting it in between the lines, and that's what you need, and with him, I'm seeing that his match fitness is also getting there. Obviously, with time, he hasn't been playing for long, but look at the effort he put in there. I think the chef was cooking so nicely out here. It was smelling from Le Plum up until Light Josie. Even in Nigeria, they thought we were making fufu. It was not fufu, Baba. Yes. Strictly South African traditional food in Jame. Boerewors and pap with some tomato gravy. What the chef was cooking.
Tsepo, I don't want you to analyze. I think I want you to be big brother here. Tunyelwa and Kabini, young men who are called on in a situation, Bafana was scrambling here, injuries, all these things. Psychologically, emotionally, the team had to manage all this. And then these 2 young men perform like this. As a former Bafana international who played that position, what would you like to say to them now?
No, Silver, to them it's a job well done, solid. They, sometimes when you're called, and you are put in that position, it's a test, and they pass the test. For me, it's job well done. for both of them, but again, it's competition and food and what it has showed us today, which is there's always competition in football. You know, who'd have thought Buti Umudiba would be out today, you know, and Kabini in, like, so it's competition and it's part of football. So it must make you grow and make you be a better player, also be a better human being, but in this case, be a better player. And Dunyelwa, Kabini, job well done.
Yeah,
We got a draw. We're still in a good position. We in a perfect position
yeah.
to finish up the job. You know, so kudos to them.
Bafake le ngwenya le Sizwe, ubani le ngwenya le ubani uSimon or uLukman ngizwile bathi player of the what. Thina la sikhiya yonke into, abo-Lucas Thola bakhiya abo-Ronaldo, uTshepo wakhiya abo-Ronaldo, so ala ngimnyazi ngimnandi la emasayidini. So, I mean, hayi, big up to the boys in Jayami, big up to the boys. But also, Mjaka, to add on to that point, uTshepo, I'm sure can see it as well, what we spoke about earlier was the support coming from our police. As soon as they lost the ball, but they were always creating
Mhm.
that 2v2. He never left him isolated. So that gave him a bit of confidence. And also, with them not going too much forward, I think that made them focus on their primary job, which was defending. And they did exactly that. Perfect.
I want to get on that exactly, Cheesy. It seemed like the obvious subs were gonna be made. Sibelebele was gonna come on, Rele was gonna come on. Those subs on the sides were gonna be made. Policy, but the hard work that they were doing, and it took Bruce even longer to make the decision, Cheesy.
Yeah.
We all knew it's coming, but 70 minutes, 80 minutes, Rele, Sibelebele, Bruce is not making the sub, Cheese. Kunzima, kuzoba nzima ndoda.
Bekunzima mfethu, but also I was also waiting for that sub. I wish he could have brought Usibilibili a little bit earlier because with him coming in, Aswa starting now to get into their last half a bit, it was a bit problematic in terms of making those runs. The guys were a bit tired, mfethu. As a winger, when on the day you are told that what you need to track back with your full back, you must know you're in for a long day at the office. And I'm sure the guys' legs were giving in, but the coach pushed them a bit because they kept the shape well. They still had a little bit of that
Mm.
energy up until he made that sub, and also with Mbata coming in to try and solidify. And I think we were spot on allowing SoccerBeat in Fit not Tsepo and everyone to say, once we want to close shop, we have Mbata there if Oba starts the game. And it worked exactly the way we spoke about it. And big up kudos to the coaches as well and the technical team for actually analyzing these things, that we spoke about. We also feel proud that at least, there's a bit of contribution in terms of opinions, that can be shared. Because I mean, we've been there, we've played there before, so there's certain things that we can also see that can be useful and helpful for the players and for the country as a whole in Jam. So with this being said, I would have loved to see Billy a little bit, maybe a 20, 30 minutes nyana, maybe for a quarter, because I felt he ran out of gas as well in those last few minutes. Maybe for him, and as well, Udaiden Foster. Foster was excellent, but for Tsepo, that man was holding up the ball so nicely. He showed that he's been playing in the top leagues with these guys, and they know him. They bam Saba now, but they know with this one, a very, very dangerous striker, and it was a great solid effort from everyone from the team. Everybody did excellent. Monyani coming in, excellent job out here.
Must be also commended, Tsepo. Indeed, the gas that's Bafana displayed. Usually in the 70th minute, there's panic about make a sub, but you could see the guys are giving extra. Lal Foster didn't lose his head, even though he wasn't shooting at goal. He was fighting off the ball. He kept on contesting everything. You could tell there's just something in the mentality in this team that's very different. They're not looking at I'm standing next to Samuel, who is supposed to be this expensive, and Lukman, who's supposed to be the CAF Player of the Year contender. I am also who I am.
No, definitely when I'm Jaga, but I like our coach. The thinking and how he introduce or how he makes changes. Like in Hugo Bros, we believe, and I like how sometimes like trade game, this results favors us. And you can be naive and make mistakes, but I like how we calculated all the
Mm.
moves, like, even the subs, like for, leaving for Slang Quarter for a Wise Velebele later on, and starting with Obas, it was key
Sure.
also in our
Yeah.
midfield. I'm not
Oh,
saying Mbata was not gonna do the same job, right? But
yeah.
with Obas and Mokoena, they from Sundowns, and that connection, that you know. But I just like how our coach can manage the occasion, not occasion, but also the result. So I kudos to Coach Hugo and the young boys, man. Uh, when you look at Mbokazi, man, we have to be honest. Sisu three, so Cheesy, you, Sisu, and me. We couldn't have predicted Mbokazi today would be starting in such a crucial game. But that's football for you. And
Yeah.
and I firmly believe Gucci, if he stays healthy, I think is a starter going to the AFCON. Obviously, we in the brink of qualifying for the World Cup. I'm not gonna say
Mm.
we're not going to the World Cup. Sizosiya lapha America, baba ama passport ready. Nawa. Siyagibela lapha. You know, and so Umbogazi, like, if you look at Mbogazi's story, it should serve as an inspiration to the young boys.
Inspiration.
Would
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
it's possible, Sizwe. It's
Yeah.
possible. Not even 3 seasons in the PSL. The boys Bafana is wearing an arm belt at the big team Orlando Pirates. We're
Mm.
debating whether he should go to the under 20 World Cup. It should serve as an inspiration to the boys that they not only at the Orlando Pirates, but every DDC team. You know,
Yeah.
Uguti boys, it's possible. Just focus, work hard, and remain humble.
Similar sentiments with Ngocha Cheesy. He was
Yeah.
behind, coming up as the other guy next to Rele. Overtake, going to Saudi Arabia. For the in this game could have been if Jay a little bit of I don't know, Cheesy, quality, maturity. I don't know. I've never been a professional footballer, but you could see it was just a little bit of something that is missing. You probably know, but he was a threat. He was even being wrestled, Cheesy. Who would have predicted Ngota would be that guy now? Because we knew Apolis, we knew Rele. Now it's Ngota. It could be someone else. It could be Sibelebele too.
I think Tsepo nailed it, Joe. I think it should be an inspiration for all the boys that are participating in the DDC. Those are that are also still coming up to the DDC. That it is open for everyone. And like he said, the coach, he's assessing each and every player. Pram. He doesn't care how old you are, but as long as you have the quality and the discipline to actually be a professional player, you are gonna get the opportunity. In fact, I mean, look at Unkota. It's a bit difficult for our wingers. I myself as a winger, we struggled a lot physically when you play a Nigerian team, But in most cases where he used to win his battles was always the movement of the ball, running off the ball instead of trying to hold the ball and trying to go on a physical contact. He's never gonna win that battle. That's why sometimes he got pushed off the ball, even Apollos at some stages. But it's something that they will improve and learn on in terms of how to take on a defender that is much more bigger than you. When are the moments for you to take him on the outside or on the inside? When to buy fouls, those smaller things, But you could see Apollos was trying, but I think also the pitch conditions were not allowing for a player that likes to run with the ball to actually enjoy his game on the day. That's why even in Apollos, he wants to run with it, but the ball is bubbling now and then. Nkota, you can overrun it. It takes a bump. It's difficult. But there is light, but it also shows that we still have other quality players that play in that position. This reminds me of the classic South African national team when Grootman, Mkelele, and them won the AFCON. We are used to wing play with our wingers, which full of speed and skill, and it's starting to show now in terms of the way they are putting the team. You can see it's a quick wing on the left, it's a quick wing on the right. That's your Helman Mkelele. That side, you understand. Ngapha abo Brendan Silent, abo Scepezana, there's a lot, but it just shows you with the culture. They've brought it back, and I'm sure they looked at the tapes, it's happened to say, how did the country get successful at that time in terms of their play and how to incorporate with the modern football. And it's working, Mchara, So for them, it's just an improvement on how to deal with their 1v1s when they're facing a physical defender. But other than that, Mchara, they fought. Even though they lost the ball, they will still fight back and try and push hard. But yeah, solid from the wingers as well, eh?
We've got to talk leadership. Ronza, tried to be lax in a moment, almost conceding a penalty, having to grab the ball, and then after that we concede a goal. Tsepo. I've never been a pro footballer, but I've attended leadership, seminars, and I've learned some leadership qualities. And I know when when the temperature's high, there's certain moments, and there when your captain and the guy who's been controlling the temperature of the team, the temperament of the team, loses it at that time, and then we concede that goal.
No, man, with Ronda, you must understand, like, every team has got that spine. No, I think Ronda, Tebza,
Yeah.
up front, with Lyle
Foster, yeah.
Foster, I think that's the spine of the team. And Ronda, he's matured in a sense that he's not only playing like the Premiership in our domestic cup games,
Mm.
right? He's playing the,
Mm.
in our continent, the Champions League. So I think he's matured enough. He knows, the conditions and how
And they
difficult it
conceded.
is.
Yeah,
And I
they conceded shortly before halftime. Tsepo, so that's the moment I feel,
and it,
the
and
management. Yeah,
and it was a critical phase of the game, when you concede
Yeah.
at that time. But there's guys where, as a coach, now if I'm watching, if Ronza commit a mistakes today, I'm not gonna be too harsh because he's a leader, he's a spine. I know it's a mistake, it's a game of mistakes. Like Tebza, we you can't play a Bafana team without a Daves or without a Ronza. And
Yeah.
I know there's a couple of guys gonna come back. I think Mutal is gonna come back to the right,
Yeah.
once is settled in his issues with Sundowns. There's guys
Mm.
that are they are a core of the team, like the spine of the team. But with Ronda, he's seen enough. He's matured. He's at that stage where it, it, it's it's better it happens to Ronda than to a young, or someone
to
else.
someone
He
Yeah.
else.
can
Yeah,
take the
yeah,
criticism, the stick, he's at, yeah, he's at that age and maturity and level.
Yeah.
Ukuthi he can take all the, with him and Nabotebza, I find comfort in them. When I look at our
Sure.
national team, you need guys that gonna shield the younger ones. Abonkota, these young boys,
Yeah. Yeah.
and also with Raleigh, I know, it's two games where it didn't feature much, but it's not all lost. It's competition, it's football.
Yeah.
I'm sure when he goes back to his team, Orlando Pirates, when he
Yeah.
reflects, he's gonna want to work more hard. He wants to be in the big
Back.
tournaments. He's still young.
Yeah.
He's still got time on his side. But again,
Yeah.
you don't want to miss the big opportunities or the big tournaments as a youngster. Because sometimes you're young today, season. There's AFCON, there's World Cup, and then maybe it goes dries again. Like, we don't qualify
Mm.
for the next 8 years or whatever. So for him, I'm sure this exercise it was good for him. He's
yeah.
our national treasure. We need to protect him. And the coach maybe was protecting him by not giving him too much game time. Nkota is outside, he's in the Saudi, you have our police, the tried and tested. But for him, he should keep his head up, like work on his game. And we all know what he can deliver. So, it was a good exercise for him. And this thing is bigger than an individual, man. We want to
Sure.
go to the big tournaments as a country.
Yeah, no, because a boy like really it can affect you, and this is not going to affect you, boy. Mentally, you need to be strong because either way, There's always competition, and he's also coming from, he had a bit of a knock-nyana injury, So obviously the coach is looking at those things as well, and the magnitude of the game. He hasn't been playing. You don't want him to go in there, commit mistakes at a high-stake game. You want to protect him and say, hey, I still need you for the upcoming games, because gradual I need to get you back in there because you haven't been playing for some time. Nkota, maybe he's been having a lot of minutes at his past team. He's confident. So obviously the coach would start with somebody like that. But that does not mean Rela is not going to get a chance. He is going to get a chance. It just happens that there's are games whereby you are going to be on the sidelines or even in the stands, that somebody has to do the job because, like Tsepo said it's more than the individual. But us, we can normally encourage Rele to stay focused, get back to his ways, get back to club level, start playing again, start scoring, and then definitely he will be in that team. We all know Umjaka. I mean, that's our treasure. President Ama 2000 le phela.
Hey, Baba, my passport is ready. Caesar. No, no, but on the lighter side, my kids they were born in the US. Like I've got twins. My son and daughter, they've got US. So mina ne America kancane nje ngathi sine connection. So like my kids, they've got US. They've got the US. Like
Citizenship, yeah.
papers like citizenship years. So like my son, he plays soccer. Like tomorrow,
No,
if
Emma
tomorrow he
Umjaka.
makes it,
No, Umjaka. No
he can
wonder,
he
no
can choose
wonder.
between South Africa and the US. He's got you. Let's say they have dual citizenship, whatever. Dual, yeah, sharp sharp. Bye
Mchara,
bye.
before we vala, no wonder Tsepo has got. Now I understand where Tsepo gets this accent. He has a good accent that Tsepo. I'm like, God, I want a hamburger. It's kind of soccer beat, and we like to beat to the talking. I thought, okay. Oh, now I get it. Now I'm afraid to not put them international again.
SoccerBeat, hola, hola, hola.